I think I've got some credibility here to talk about the Russian investigation, and here's what I mean by that. I've said from day one for nearly a year now, I think Trump did it, and by it I mean things way worse than just exchanging emails and trying to figure out Hillary's emails during the campaign or encouraging the Russians to run a couple of fake ads on Facebook. I've said from day one that I think that they have a financial relationship. I think that there is a ton of circumstantial evidence that is already out in the public. But let's find out what Mueller concludes, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, so that is my view of the Russian investigation vis-a-vis Trump. So now the Russian investigation is apparently targeting Jill Stein. Okay, now they have jumped the shark. Now, and again, I have credibility here because I had Jill Stein on the show plenty of times during the election, but then I said, much to the chagrin of many progressives, that I think that it was a smart thing to do to vote for Hillary Clinton, especially in blue states. I said that because I didn't want the monster Donald Trump winning. By the way, the other person who didn't want the monster Donald Trump winning was Jill Stein. She, in fact, had raised $7.3 million to do a recount in the 3 critical battleground states to double check that Trump had actually won. So I think that earns her a tremendous amount of credibility, but apparently not enough, because now I think we've gotten to witch hunt stage. It's one thing if you're going after the person who you think might have had ties with the Russians. What is this? So let me give you the details. So we're going to go to NBC News here. 2 Senate committees probing Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election have now asked for materials related to Green Party candidate Jill Stein's campaign. Okay, so what are they looking for? And let's find out what the so-called charges are. The environmentalist and advocate of better relations with Russia has been a Kremlin favorite since her first run as the Green Party's presidential candidate in 2012, writes Robert Windrum, NBC News, as he finds a pitchfork for himself, but it's a pitchfork for the establishment. What do you mean has been a Kremlin favorite? What does that mean? Like, this is what I'm talking about. This smears people. Look, is Jill Stein have a position on Russia that's different than mine? Almost certainly, right? That doesn't mean that I get to call her a Kremlin favorite. Based on what evidence? Wait, do you have emails from the Kremlin saying, Jill Stein, we really like her? Man, boy, she is one of our favorites. No, you made it up. This is not real reporting. So the Russian embrace of Jill Stein was anything but subtle. Andrew Weiss says, he's a Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, so-called Russia expert. Russian state propaganda continues. Outlets like RT had a field day with her strident attacks on US political establishment, and they seem to work hand in glove. Wait a minute. So you're not allowed to criticize American policies anymore? Had a field day with her strident attacks on US political establishment. We're not allowed to attack the political establishment, otherwise we're working with the Russians or the Chinese or the Martians? What kind of insanity is this? This is a Russia expert. But do you have any evidence of Russia working with Jill Stein? I don't see anything publicly, I don't see anything privately, I don't see anything circumstantial, I don't see anything direct. Oh, she went on RT a couple of times. RT was a media organization, and now we know that they have more ties and with the Russian government, and I think that that's a whole separate conversation. I know that they were owned by the Russians. Al Jazeera is owned by Qatar, and I would argue that CNN largely serves the American government. And we can have those discussions and debates, and BBC is owned by the British government in a sense. Oh yeah, I went on BBC to do propaganda for the British. What? No, it was a media outlet that people went on. That proves absolutely nothing. Conservatives went on there, liberals went on there, moderates went on there. You're gonna round up everybody that went on RT. That's your evidence, and that's pathetic. Second of all, is it now somehow wrong or illegal to criticize the quote, US political establishment? Then lock me up. Because yes, I don't give a damn what your so-called Russia expert says. I'm going to criticize the US political establishment. You want to know why? Because I love this country and I want to make it better. I don't want to sit around and go, oh, I think Donald Trump has my best interest in mind. I'm going to listen to the dear leader. Whatever he says must be true. And I'm certainly not going to say that about Hillary Clinton either. So if you want to bow your head to the political establishment, go ahead. But it is not yet a crime in America. Now, what evidence do they have on anything on Jill Stein? The one thing they always come back to, she was once at a dinner. So they have the picture, and if you label people in the pictures, it seems more nefarious. So there's Putin, and there's Flynn, and there's Stein, and there's some other people from across the world. Ooh, you labeled them. Oh, wow. Oh, that sounds so dangerous. Dun, 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 man. But what did they talk about? What did they say? So, in fact, Jill Stein, I think I should have gotten a better deal. She apparently paid her own way to go over there. They probably would have chipped in for your flight and hotel, okay? That was back in 2015. If she had asked me, hey, I'm gonna go get to meet Putin and have this dinner, and I'd be like, oh, that sounds interesting. I don't know that I wouldn't have not met with Putin in 2015. It doesn't mean you work with the guy. I've met 1,000 people, including Steve Bannon, who I do not like at all. It doesn't mean anything. So now if you said to me, go meet with Putin, given what I've said about him, I don't think I'd do that, okay? But back then, to criticize her for that, it's great. Okay, so it doesn't matter. We went in and asked her about it. TYT investigates. Michael Tracy talked to her, and she said, there's been a smear campaign going on for about a year, and a lot of people have been poisoned by that. Stein said, speculating for the possible motives for the Senate committee's request for information. And she continued, and so they think that there was something really nefarious going on around that table, because a lot of people asserted that and portrayed it as if it was a close conversation. Hardly. She explained further, no names were exchanged, no eye contact, nada. Just a quick handshake, that's it. There was nothing meaningful at that dinner. I mean, that's what we're parsing now. Did Jill Stein make eye contact with Putin at that dinner? Do you know why Michael Flynn's in trouble for that dinner? Because he got $45,000 and then did not report it when he was supposed to. That's a violation of the law. If Michael Flynn had said, yeah, oh yeah, I went and had dinner over there, the RT flew me in, if Al Jazeera had, BBC had, I'd have gone the same, and have filled it out in his form, then we wouldn't have anywhere near this kind of issue. He lied about it because maybe he did something there he wants to cover up. Jill Stein has been transparent about it from day one. She didn't cover it up, she didn't fill out any forms wrong, and she didn't get any money. This is what looks like a witch hunt, okay? So now we're gonna go to more establishment people. Michael McFaul, former US ambassador to Russia and an NBC News analyst, such as it is, said that Stein, quote, most certainly influenced the outcome of the 2016 election, given the outcome was decided in 3 states and by 78,000 votes. Wait, what does that have to do with you being a Russian ambassador? So yes, we know what happened. So Ralph Nader influenced the outcome of the 2000 election. Was he working for the Portuguese or for Singapore or Botswana? Are people not allowed to run against the establishment anymore? So I said to vote for Hillary Clinton in the general election, definitely not the primary, in the general election because I was worried that the monster Donald Trump would win. I would argue that I was right about that. But that doesn't mean that I think that anyone who didn't is suspect and working with the Russians and are traitors or something. No, it's okay, because Michael McFaul did the math. We all know it was 78,000 votes. What does that have to do with you being a Russian ambassador to Russia? What evidence do you have? You don't have any evidence. We all know what the vote count was. That's not evidence against Jill Stein. That's saying third parties should be outlawed and everyone should bow their heads to the establishment. Look at this, there's not a single shred of evidence in here. It's just, I don't like her and she was against the political establishment. Everybody should be forced to vote for Hillary Clinton. Hell no. Okay, we're back to Andrew Weiss, this another so-called expert, the guy I quoted earlier. He says her talking points on hot button issues like the war in Ukraine look like she's reading off a Kremlin supplied script. Another so-called Russia expert here. Well, do you have the script? Do you have emails saying, hey, Dr. Stein, please say this? Do you have any evidence connecting that? Nope. It just so happens that her position on Ukraine is similar to Putin's or to the Russian government's. By the way, I don't agree with her position on Russia. But that doesn't mean that I think that she's a secret agent. She's allowed to have regular positions on different policy issues. We don't all have to agree, and we most certainly don't have to agree with you or your favorite candidate. This is unreal. So now I'm going to go back to Michael McFaul. Look, I'm quoting their experts. If their experts don't have anything, why'd you write this stupid article? Okay, he says RT has promoted and often exaggerated the importance of third-party political leaders and fringe social movements in the United States with the aim of exacerbating social tensions in the United States. RT has featured third parties when we have gotten our stooges in the mainstream media to not feature third parties, to not give people options. We've gotten our lackeys who work for the US government apparently and the establishment here to shut out other voices and make sure Americans have no choice but the Republican and the Democrat that usually the donors handpick. And anyone else is outside the acceptable opinion and we're gonna label fringe. But not only are we gonna label fringe, the establishment's doing that for a long time, but now we're gonna investigate you. We're gonna investigate you to see if you're a spy. Because you dared to have an opinion outside of what the establishment allows. Well, I got news for you, McFaul. Not everyone had to vote for Hillary Clinton. Not everyone had to vote for the Democrat or the Republican. So it just seems like almost every quote is, why didn't they vote for Hillary? Well, we love Hillary, why didn't they vote for Hillary? Well, I would have rather, this is my third time saying, I would rather have had them vote for Hillary than Donald Trump. Sad day for me, sad day for you. It's called a democracy. No, third party fringe. How dare they? Why didn't they bow their head earlier? I hope they come at you 1,000 times harder next time. I'm talking about third parties, I'm talking about Americans who care and who want to change the government. I know you guys don't want to change it. You love the status quo, you love your stupid think tanks funded by millionaires and billionaires where you sit around and think like, who shall we blame for Hillary's loss? So who shall we blame? Oh, I do declare let's blame Jill Stein and let's make up things and with no evidence at all. Well, and last quote here. In addition to being interviewed on policy issues, Stein's campaign, including the Green Party's convention, was covered extensively on RD. Don't cover anyone else. I mean, this is insanity. You know, I got a note from someone I know in the mainstream press. We had Jill Stein on to do a town hall near the end of the election, right? And the note I got back from a friend was, just when we thought the Young Turks were beginning to be credible, they have Jill Stein on. Well, no thank you. If you think credibility means you will only support the Democratic or Republican candidates, you will only support what the donor class has handed to you as your false choices, no thank you. The next time there's an election, I'll have a third party on, a fourth party on, and a fifth party on. We're not doing it for the Russians. You know who we're doing it for? Americans. So they actually have choice, and so they actually have a democracy. I know you guys don't believe in that, and then you complain about Russia. I've got credibility to complain about Russia. You guys, you've got nothing, because you don't even believe in democracy. Oh my God, RT had third party people on and even covered their convention and their ideas. How dare you cover their ideas? Pathetic. Finally, I'm gonna go back to Jill Stein's quotes when she talked to TYT Investigates about this earlier today. She said it is, quote, a resurgence of McCarthyism. And she went on to say, there are no consequences for the reporters who basically launch these extremely irresponsible and destructive stories that diminish the stature of the press and that legitimizes the charge of fake news. So yeah, it's full of crap. Hey, the McFauls and the Weisses of the world and the Senate investigators and the rest of the establishment. I just read a quote from Jill Stein on air. I covered her on air. You want to investigate us? Have at it, Hoss. You took what is, in my opinion, an incredibly legitimate investigation of whether the president is tied to a foreign government. It's become such a frenzy now that you're just investigating anyone who dared to challenge Hillary Clinton. And that is going to ruin the credibility of the investigation in the first place if they keep going down this road. So monumentally stupid, and it's because the establishment cannot see straight. They get furious if anyone dares to challenge them.